And to us, black metal is about, it's a metalized darkness. It is metal music, and it is marked by the atmospheres of it and the inherent darkness, more than just technical definition of how the guitar sound should be and how the vocals should be and so on and so forth. I think that metal music that is truly dark and which has that edge of extreme metal could rightfully be called black metal. Satyricon has never been darker than what we are now. Satyricon has never been darker than what we are now. So I feel that if we aren't black metal now, then it would be meaningless to say that earlier albums were black metal albums. We are still more in touch musically and spiritually with that darkness than ever before. We are still more in touch musically and spiritually with that darkness than ever before, and I think that the music has more of a menacing and dark feel to it than ever before. But it is also, progressive and more dynamic than ever before. We have groovy elements and we have intense elements. There are quiet and calm parts, and there are lots of rather unconventional elements and solutions. But that's also what you should expect in black metal, because it's always been about innovation and about challenge and to dare trying out new solutions and to experiment.
Do you think it's become a bit? Do you think it's become a bit?
Venom and Battery were really innovative in their old days, and so were Celtic Frost, for instance, and they created this.
Do you think it's become a bit stagnant when you look at what other black metal bands are doing, sort of keeping the same approach and the makeup and all that sort of thing, and musically most of them are kind of almost following the same route as Slayer, where you generally know what you're going to get, and they're sticking to their sort of core values of what they write musically. Whereas, as I mentioned, like a band like Satyricon really have pushed the envelope, but it definitely shows that a lot of these bands that are in the scene with you guys aren't moving forward that much and progressing, and that's where the argument kicks in, where some just think that Satyricon have strayed from their roots or traditional roots.
The artwork, what does it represent?
We called it the philosopher. And to me it just represents something magnificent, and something some ancient wisdom, and something that is still like unknown or to be discovered, to be explored. This is something epic, something monumental, really big, and I really hope that it pictures the substance of the record, and it just perfectly goes along with what the record is all about.
Okay. Recently, talking about this new album, you said that Satan is the most misunderstood character ever. You said that Satanism is love. You said that Satanism is love, freedom, and love for freedom. So, what did you mean with those words?
Well, it's pretty straightforward statement, so it just means what it is. It's just, I don't know, it's just my interpretation of, of what Satan is in today's world, according to my system of values. He was the one who broke free from boundaries set on him by his father, by God. And he just liberated himself due to his passion and need for independence, which I see a strong analogy to every independent and a freedom-loving human being, including myself. So that's just my interpretation. I know it's like a free interpretation of. Satan is very much demonized due to culture that we live in, because it's strongly Christian inspired. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. I know it might not make sense to anyone else in the world, as long as it makes sense to me.
Okay, so is this the main topic you are talking about in your lyrics?
I guess so. I think that it's the pretty universal message that we try to maintain for years, actually. Okay. But I really hope that the Satanist with this record, which is the closest to manifest that vision. In the most genuine and honest way. Yeah.
So, what do you think about censorship?
It sucks. I hate any kinds of limitations that are put on art. But due to, obviously, we want to reach out to the masses. Or music, so we'd rather just do some tweaks here and there on the video, so YouTube or another organization won't just bust our asses for that, and we still can maintain our message and spread it, even though it's a bit limited. I don't like that, but it is what it is. You either bend to the rules and still manage to reach out to these people, or you reject and then you lose quite much of an opportunity to doing that. So I'd rather go the first option.
At home, and the reports are conflicting. They were trying to charge you with something, that it was dropped, and now they're saying, are you still? Is that still ongoing? Yeah. Is that? I thought I read that it got reopened or something.
Yeah, it was reopened a couple of times. This whole court structure is super complex. I hardly ever catch up with that. It's my lawyers, that just call me up and say what's the current status of things. Fortunately for myself, the court case ended up with a positive sentence, which means not guilty in my case. So yeah, that's how Satan wins, which means not guilty in my case. So yeah, that's how Satan wins.
Suffering from your from the illness that you were experiencing, you know, and with this new album, calling it the Satanist, and it seems a very, you know, a very strong yet simple point that you're trying to make. You know, has your perception on the metaphors that you use when you talk about Satan and things like that, has that changed in those intervening years? Did your time change you in any way, the way you perceive it?
I hope so. I'm pretty sure that like every time I put out a record, it's like a different angle and different approach. In most cases, or maybe all of them, it's pretty much about the same stuff, you know. It's about the freedom and liberation, self-empowerment, will, very healthy things and very human-oriented things. And yeah, I mean the satanic concept has been with Behemoth from day one, simply because I've always felt associated with the outcast archetypes in our mythology and culture. So I always stood behind their back, you know, and I always, you know, kind of identify myself, you know. You know, you say Satan, I say, you know, there's like a lot of values and virtues that are close to every ambitious human being, are pretty close to what this character stood for in his history, tragic history. So there's no, I mean, this is a figure that's been like highly demonized by the Christian doctrine. I just disagree with the way it was approached in the culture, and what we're trying to do with our music and with our philosophy is to bring, you know, bring this name, all the, you know, the distinction. That's what it's called. The word. Yeah.
But, at home, then, I mean, like I said, you've remained popular internationally for a long time, and that's not really disputable to me. But at home, you say you have all these people because you did some mainstream things and you were dating somebody, and that brought a lot of attention to you. Has that changed the sort of culture at all, where your music and themes wouldn't have been, I guess, accessible by a lot of people at home? Now, are those people sticking around, or is it just sort of like a consumerism where they're just with you for a little while? Has your success there changed the cultural landscape of your home country?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions here that should be directed to some psychologist or, you know, people who analyze things like that. I don't know, man. I'm like,
See more permanent support at home, or has it swelled even more, or is it?
no. I mean, it's hard to say.